Alright folks, in this video I'm going to show how I can connect to my Raspberry Pi remotely with my Android tablet. For this video we're going to show connections based off Secure Shell and VNC. So the first thing I need to do is make a few configurations on my Raspberry Pi. From a command line I execute sudo raspi-config and that opens the configuration tool. From the configuration tool I want to pick interfaces and then go and make sure SSH or Secure Shell is enabled. Second, I want to go in and I want to go to interfacing and I want to make sure that VNC is enabled. After verification, I will exit the Raspberry Pi configuration tool. There's a second way to make these configurations on your Raspberry Pi, and we'll demonstrate those now by going to your Start menu, Preferences, and then Raspberry Pi Configuration. What this does is open up an application that makes the exact same configuration changes. We go to Interfaces and then just check off to see if SSH and VNC are enabled. Once I do this, I hit OK, and we're done. Now we're going to go over to the Android tablet and make sure that we have the software that is necessary for remote controlling the Raspberry Pi. The first thing we're going to do is install a program called Termux. Here's how I searched for and found the Termux program. As you can see, there are a bunch of different terminal options, but I prefer Termux. So here we go, we've selected the application and we're going to begin the installation now. Once the installation is complete, we'll go ahead and open the application. As you can see, we're presented with a command line interface similar to a Linux environment. Here I begin the process of secure shelling into my Raspberry Pi using the IP address for my Raspberry Pi. The attempt was unsuccessful because SSH is not installed in my Termux application yet. We're going to go ahead and use the package command pkg install or install open SSH. It will ask me if I want to continue after displaying how much storage will be used. I said yes and allowed the installation to continue. Once the installation is done, I can attempt to SSH to the Raspberry Pi again using the SSH command and the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. Your IP address is likely different. Because this is the first time that I have SSH'd from my Android device to the Raspberry Pi, I will be presented with a message asking me if I want to continue. It shows me a key and lets me know that this server or this Raspberry Pi is not part of my known host configuration. I'm also presented with a password prompt, which I type in, and now you can see I'm at a Raspberry Pi console. The first thing I'm going to do from this console is check the IP address of the Raspberry Pi to show that I'm not connected to or running a command line on my Android any longer. I'm going to use the ifconfig command and I'm going to grep for the INET addresses. Here on the third line you can see 192.168.1.138. Now I'm going to execute a ping or an echo request back to my Android tablet, which has the same beginning IP address but ends with 140. And as you see, I have connectivity from the Pi back to the Android tablet. I'm going to issue a few more commands just to make sure that everything is working as expected. I enter who am I and it shows that I'm logged on as Pi. Print working directory or PWD shows the directory that I'm in on the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this command line and be taken back to the Android tablet. Now that we're on a command line on the Android tablet, I'm going to execute a few commands just to show the differences. Print working directory or PWD shows a directory on the Android tablet, and now I log out. Like we did for Termux, we want to go to the Google Play Store and find the VNC software that we want to install. Here we do a quick search for VNC, and we pick the remote desktop. After installing the remote desktop, we'll go ahead and open up VNC Viewer. It's going to ask for a new connection, and we type in the address for the Raspberry Pi. We will also give it a name, and then click Create. So now I have my Raspberry Pi in my address book. Here I put in my username and password. After I enter my password, I go ahead and click OK, and then I'm presented with my Raspberry Pi desktop through the viewer on my Android pad. If you like this video, or you want to see more of a similar nature, go ahead and click like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone.